So this is where Apollo was shot at. So you can see I broke that fence stepping on it, climbing around, looking at things. But these are all the other flags where anything could have been found. And I hope I'm not stepping on it. But there's actually... oh crap. Oh, here it is. Bullet casing. I marked. Still in the ground. Right there. And that's on our property. These are the flags that I marked where we found, we found 4 casings and 1 ricochet bullet. This is where other stuff was. We did find blood on the ground, and that was right here. And so that's why I marked that spot. If you look up, that's our fence, and that's the property that we own. Inside the fence where we shot, this is our line of property. This is where the blood was, where they said, where the dogs, I guess, were fighting or wherever. And where he ran from, it's way over there on that corner. I'm going to zoom in for you. So way over here on the corner is where he said he ran from. And his wife said that the dogs were fighting right where that stick is. How could you see that from that corner? Because the wife also said that she ran over here and saw the dogs fighting on our on their property right here. But the dogs, in all reality, were actually fighting right here. So it doesn't add up, doesn't make sense. Found multiple things. Apollo, the dog that was killed, has never left the property. Very sweet dog. Cerberus has left the property, has been in a few fights with dogs, but all of them were on our property, or not on our property, but within 10-15 feet of the fence line, by dogs who were not on leashes and weren't being controlled by their owners. So I'm going to walk this way so that you can see the distance he had to travel to run up to these flags and shoot Apollo. Sorry if I get a little emotional. So he had to run all the way, sorry about the lighting as well, through here. Well, those branches haven't been moved. So if I'm correct, he had to come between this gap right in the center. So I'm gonna, right here, that gap. So if he were to shoot the dogs on that side, he would have to clear all the way to this dirt and fire. He said he fired 3 times originally, changed his story when the cops got here and said he fired 6 or 7 times. Well, if he fired 6 or 7 times, we found 5 of the casings on, or 4 of the casings on that side of the fence, way down there. Look where the flags are. Let me get a better view. See where the flags are, and the blood is in that flag, and the fence is over there. How did the casings get way over there if he said he fired over here? That doesn't make any sense. Now, walking this way, even if I were to run, be a 4-5 second run easily, at a full sprint, with the handgun loaded and ready, I wouldn't sprint with the handgun. And if you are, it's because you're pursuing, which is also illegal to pursue. So now Apollo was over here, and the guy came up here with his gun. These are all marked because I marked multiple sites because I did not want to know where the bullet holes were or the casings were in case they wanted to move them. But as you can see, I'll point to, or you can't even see if I point, I'm going to zoom in on it. So one, inside that plant, right there between those 2 flags. Another one was at that stick. These are casings, not the bullets. Another one was at that stick standing up. And the last one we found on our property on that fence line is right here. So you're telling me you shot my dogs from way over there, yet the casings are on this side of the fence. Now on top of that, this is where I found the ricochet. Right here on the inside of our fence at the base. And we kept these in a baggie. One of them we did touch out of excitement for finding them on our property once we were told, after we were told that he had shot our dogs from. Let me show you where he said he shot our dogs from. To the cops, might I add. And this is our property and the cops didn't do anything. Right here where that white flag is, the furthest one inside. So let me zoom in on it so you know what I'm talking about. Oh, I can't zoom any further, I got the other lens. But that flag right there on the left is where he said he shot from. Well, that's inconsistent with where all the bullets were and where all the casings are. So that's another lie. Now his wife said that she ran over and saw the dogs fighting right here when she was over here at this corner. Now how could she come from that corner and see the dogs fighting right here. I mean, I'm not gonna go on their property, but you can tell that's not possible. And then she would have enough time to run all the way from that corner to their home, which is a good 100, maybe like 40 yards that way, other side of these trees. Get her husband, have him come out and saw the dogs fighting. It's impossible. Doesn't make sense. It's a lie. And he also said that he shot and killed or not shot and killed. He said he shot the dogs on their property. Well, that's impossible. Paulo was shot through the abdomen. I've loaded those pictures already. And on his wounds, he could barely walk. He couldn't even walk once he was in the garage. He had to sit down. I couldn't get him to stand up. This is where he said the dog came through. Well, we haven't touched this, and the rain's moved a little bit of the leaves that were piled up there. But you can see these wires go down, and you have, let me get down here. You have about, my thumb almost touches it while touching the dirt. So, I mean, that's impossible. Paulo was a 100+ pound dog. He, even pushing it, I'm having trouble pushing that. Either way, we're gonna struggle. And a 100-pound+ dog with that big of a head is not gonna get through there, especially with that stump right there. Because let me show you with my feet, you would have to push, and he's gonna hit this. It's just not possible. Now Cerberus, he could have gotten out. That's very plausible. And it probably did happen. I'm not saying it didn't. He might have attacked the dog, but there was no eyewitnesses except for what the wife said, but I'm not believing any more of their lies. But I do believe, there was a confrontation with the dogs. Apollo, I know for a fact, wasn't a part of it. He's never left the property. He's a social dog. He loves dogs. He loves people. Loves kids. He loves to cuddle. And he goes after loud noises. When we have fireworks, he runs up to the fireworks, so we have to keep him on a leash or kenneled when we do fireworks. So what makes me believe what had happened was their dogs did get in a fight. Wasn't here, where they said it was, where the stick is. It was actually, excuse me, right here, where that flag is. That's where I found the blood. And then what had happened was his wife screamed, probably scared the dogs. They went back on the property. Their dog, I don't know what happened. I think Cerberus ended up coming off because he got scared and ran over here. Apollo, being the dog he is, probably was over in the yard somewhere watching, wondering what's going on, making sure, whatever he could do. And then he fired at Cerberus because the shots, according to my parents who heard him, were bang. Bang, 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 bang. So what I think what happened was he came up to the fence because the first casing was, or one of the casings was right here. Again, I'll bring you to that. And there's the fence, and again, property line where the water is. So I guarantee Apollo ran up here, probably scared the Eddings husband, Mr. Eddings, and he ran up here, got shot in the chest, so he was coming towards Mr. Eddings. Then I guarantee when he got up here, he scared Mr. Eddings, and that's probably why there was a ricochet. Where that furthest flag is, you can't really see it, it's through the fence. Let me zoom in. Where this furthest flag was the ricochet spot, so who knows where the bullet hit. And I guarantee he shot the other fires at Apollo, fearing that Apollo was going to try to come after him. And Apollo could barely get off, so it makes me believe he unloaded his whole clip, so he had to have 7 rounds in the clip. Unloaded all of them right here. You can see all the flags are marked off with the metal detector where bullets and casings are. And again, that's not all bullets and casings. Some of those are just to be placebos so that they can't find them and we know where they are. And then he took off this way, and then where I found the blood trail to end was actually over here between those 2 big oaks right there. So if you look and you see those 2 windows, and there's a third tree between those 2 windows, come between those 2 oaks, and that's where I found the end of the blood trail. I looked everywhere over here. I didn't find the blood trail that day, but then the next day we came out after that big rain. We had October 31st night, so Halloween night, and I couldn't find any blood, but it allowed us to find the casings. It's disgusting what these people are trying to get away with. No one should be able to get away with animal abuse, lying to a police officer, multiple things. These people have actually shot at my family when my nephew and my brother and his wife were in the backyard swimming. So you can see there's the pool. It's maybe 50 yards away from this fence, and we actually had a cop report on that, and he said he killed our, excuse me for my language, fucking dog. Your dog, some to that nature, is dead. My brother Peter came over here and said our dogs are locked up and went off. They had an argument, and that's when the cops were called. So this is very disturbing. It's really upsetting. I'm going to follow our property line is this black line about the center of it where that middle drainage pipe is our property line, basically all the way back to the fence down there. And this is where all the commotion happened when the Eddings lied and said it happened on this side of the property. I'm not disputing that there was a dogfight. I know Apollo was not a part of the dogfight. I know that originally Eddings said they shot one dog, or the wife said she saw one dog and then changed it to 2 dogs. Mr. Eddings said he shot 2 dogs. He showed the cop that he was walking along this fence line and pointed towards that opening I showed you earlier. I'll walk back up to it. When he fired at the dogs, well, none of these are bullets. This is just where I marked certain things off. I couldn't find one single bullet on this side of the fence with the metal detector. I just used these because I didn't want them to know that I didn't find anything on this side, that these are just kind of markings. But where the blood is right there, and I marked that with the baggie to make sure I knew the triangle. So these people are disgusting. Something needs to be done. These flags, again, also same thing. It's kind of just my way of deterring anybody from messing with anything. So it is pretty disturbing. I'm more than upset. This dog, everybody who knew him knew he was a sweetheart. He actually stayed with a very, very awesome family while I lost him when I was living in Spring. And her name's Crystal. And she actually kept him for almost a month. And she has little boys, dogs, and they absolutely loved him. They called him a little pollo, little chicken. And I mean, this dog was wonderful. He was a beautiful animal. He's never hurt anything, never hurt anyone. And they shot him in cold blood and murdered my dog on our property, and nothing's being done about it. It's disgusting. It shouldn't happen. It's inhumane. I have so many people that are willing to speak out on Apollo's behalf, saying how great of a dog he was and how awesome he was, and know his personality. Cerberus, the other dog that was shot at, he does have a tendency to be aggressive to animals that come onto our property, but nothing has ever happened further than 20 feet from our fence line. So I do believe Cerberus could have been in confrontation. I'm not even denying that. But what Mr. Eddings did was out of pure rage, malicious intent. They lied about where the dogs were, and he wanted blood. He wanted to kill my dogs. And I think he got scared when he saw Apollo coming up. And my belief is Apollo came up to see what that loud bang was, and got shot in the chest. And then when he went to turn around the run, got shot through the side. And all the other marks of the bullets are from him trying to shoot Apollo in rage and being scared and not being able to fire. Because any marksman from this close of a distance would have been able to kill an animal instantly. The bullets went straight through in both spots, so it leads me to believe that how close he was, and that's what actually led me to bring the metal detector over here and find everything. It's disgusting, and this should not go on handled by the law. We were told that nothing can be done, that's a civil dispute. So I'm hoping this video gets out and reaches somebody that can actually change that. The game warden came out and he said he could write him a citation, but it wouldn't do anything more than be that of a traffic violation. He actually took one of the bullets with him that I showed where it was. He picked it up off the ground and took it with him. The cops didn't mark off the area, so they said there's no case because we could have contaminated or could have moved the evidence. It's really upsetting to me. So if all of you out there who have a dog, love animals, know that you got to call the game warden. You have to block off the area. You have to make sure that you're there. If you do have a neighbor who is aggressive and who's had anger towards the past towards you or your dogs, make sure you get animal game cameras out so they can record everything. I don't wish this on anybody. I don't wish this to be the case. I lost my best friend, and now this is where we're at. We can barely do anything. I really appreciate all your guys' time. Thank you.